Can anyone catch them, do you think?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, unbelievable. We didn't expect that.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Away Gooners podcast. So this is going to be a very formal or informal conversation about the Crystal Palace game. We are recording very late this time. We are recording after the first day of the game week. So I'm happy to welcome Bob. Hi, Bob.
How are you going?
Hi, Aben.
Hello, Jay. Hello, all.
Hi, Arun.
Hello.
So we'll start with this thing.
You should mention the actual reason why it is being an informal part. Why it's going to be very informal.
because the truth is, we usually do prepare for what we are speaking, but this time we didn't prepare anything. So
life got in the way.
And I mean, believe it or not, we do prepare for every week.
Guys, it was not a joke. I was laughing as well myself, but yeah.
But anyways, it's the home game against Crystal Palace, Arun. So I'll start with this, with the feeling of Crystal Palace with you, right? It always feels like Crystal Palace is one of those teams which doesn't give us a confidence going into the game. At least for me, it feels like, yeah, this team, we have a very high chance of this being a loss or a draw or some kind of a
I thought I was the only one who felt that way. I'm glad that you're there as well. You're right. You're right. It's Crystal Palace always feels like one of those games that are like, we almost got this, but then like while you're holding it in your hands, it always slips through your fingers. It's one of those games that always keeps happening. I know it's never a fun fixture. It's always a bit of a frustrating fixture, not because of the way they play, but because of how we somehow magically don't show up for these games. When it comes to Crystal Palace, like we always, especially at home, we when it comes to playing Crystal Palace at home, over the last few seasons, we've never managed to get any good results. And it's the games too are very laborious. The way in which we play those games. It's not like Crystal Palace are world beaters. It's not like Crystal Palace are people who are going to take them to the Champions League or Europa spots. But we still manage to somehow screw games, especially at home against them. So it's always been a frustrating watch against Crystal Palace. Yeah.
And the stats as well back your claim, Arun and Vijay. So the last 6 times that we've played Crystal Palace, we've just won once.
Once at home, I think. Yeah.
Once at home. Away. That was actually the last game that we played. Of the Hawks and era. So we drew 4, lost 1, and then the one game that we won at Sellers Park last season.
I'll better you there. The thing is, like, since I was talking about home form, over the last 5 seasons, we've only won once at home against them. If we are just going to be looking at the home form. So the thing that we are talking about, it being a sticky fixture, it being a frustrating fixture, is very visible from the results too. Can you think of one good memory from any of these games?
No, absolutely not for me.
That's the thing. So it's always been like a fixture.
I mean, last season was good because that was a game where Pepe was, having a very good control of the game. The second goal he scored during that game was really good. But I mean, Pepe does that from time to time. So nothing to be proud
that
of.
game. Even that game, it was what, 2 injury time goals?
Yes.
Pepe, yes.
That was away though. We went away at.
That was away, yes.
Yeah.
But Aben, this is. We have talked about the stickiness of the fixture, but this is coming at a time at Arsenal fixtures in a space where we won against North London, but we didn't back that up against Brighton, which feels like a point lost, although we spoke like, oh, it's a point game based on the game, but on the fixture, it's something like it's a point lost or it's 2 points lost.
See, the Brighton game, according to me, we were always in the back foot. And for me, it was a point gain. But yeah.
No, on the game, yes, but on the fixture side of it,
Yeah.
do you
On the
think
fixture side, yes, I agree.
it should have been
You don't consider Brighton to be the top team, so you expect to take all 3 points against them.
Yes.
And going again into the Crystal Palace game, you expect the same. So they're not the top teams, so we would expect we take all 3 points. But like Arun said, for me also, Crystal Palace has been one of those games where we've not performed well. They're one of our bogey teams, and
Yeah.
even the name Christian Benteke strikes at me when it comes to Crystal Palace. He'll come and score against us.
If I can throw open one more stat at this point in time, the last time, see, this has been just 2 months since the Premier League started this term. So the first time the manager of the month was actually won by Nuno. And then right after he won the game, he faced Crystal Palace, and we know what the scoreline was. Palace won 3-0. And now Crystal Palace, the fans are actually relishing the fact that they're facing Arsenal, because now Arteta has won the manager, and he's right again facing Palace.
They don't want to give us like.
I'm just telling what the stats.
It seems like they don't want to give us like even 1 minute of respite or happiness. They want to just keep hitting us.
All the stars are aligned badly, so we need to consult some kind of.
I think let's hope we are better placed defensively, so I don't see that happening. But yeah, let's see.
Sorry guys, I'll throw open one more thing as well. Since I remember, it's been since April 2017, Crystal Palace hasn't won back-to-back London derbies. So they've won once before now.
Bob, you don't jinx it now, Bob. This is not the time to jinx it.
I'm just throwing open all the stats that I've got on this.
You're trying to anti-jinx it and you're jinxing
it. And since Aben mentioned about Benteke, I'm pretty sure in this winter transfer window, we are going to again get linked with him, and that's going to pass as well. So Benteke is another guy who has been linked with us for the last, 10, 15 seasons now.
But again, let me stick with Aben on that one, right? Like, you didn't have on the game perspective, you did mention that that was a point gain at Brighton, right? But again, this is after the international break. This is the run of form that Arteta would be judged by, right? This international break to the next international break. At least that's what we have been talking about, that we would be judging Arteta by this form. To start that off against Crystal Palace, what is the thing that you are looking forward to? Because most of our players went on international break and performed well. Partey performed well. Auba scored. I think ESR played.
He scored the most goals in this international break.
I think all of them had at least one. Whoever went had at least 9 one goal involvement.
9 goals.
We had even people from our youth teams scoring.
Yeah. And Partey scored that fantastic goal against Zimbabwe with the goalkeeper.
So what is the expectation out of this game, right? Because you mentioned that Brighton, after the game, you thought it was a point game. But before the game, what was your expectation? Even thinking about it, right? So what is the expectation out of this game for you? Do you want to see, say, consistent formation? Do you want to see set gameplay, attacking football? What is your expectation out of this game for Arsenal?
In terms of formation, I expect us to be consistent in what we've been doing last couple of games. I don't see us changing that. Expectation is, yes, expect us to take all 3 points. But the skepticism in me is coming from the international break, even though our players have been doing amazing over the international break, scoring left, right, and center. But coming from the international break with all the travel, coming back in lesser number of training sessions together, I'm always skeptical whether we'll gel together on game day. That's a question mark. But I'm hoping we do. And like you said, this is a very crucial run. This international break to next, we've got some good fixtures, some tough ones in between as well. But if we can turn around that, then it is definitely going to be amazing. Because see, one win in this game is going to take us to 7th in the table, if I remember correctly. I think yes.
Yeah.
Just 1 point.
And that'll keep us within Yes, touching distance from United. Yes.
Guys, come back to reality.
but United is reality, Bob. I mean, if you see United right now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been in the same boat as Arteta right now, and United fans are almost in the same boat as us, even after getting Cristiano Ronaldo and the coveted Jadon Sancho and what's his name, Rafael Varane in the same window. I mean, after all that, they're still in the same space as us. So it's not a big thing to reach United.
They shouldn't be anywhere close to us with all
Yeah,
that. Yes.
yeah, with all that. So I mean, it's good that we can laugh at them. But again, Bob, Aben was mentioning about the formation, right? I have a question there. If I'm pretty sure we are going with back four. I'm pretty sure we are going with a front three, as in like we don't know who the front three is, but we are going with the front three. But the midfield is where the question is. When Xhaka is injured, last game against Brighton, we tried the double pivot of Partey and Sambi, and it didn't work as well. Like it didn't. Let's be fair, it didn't work. So
yeah, I think that was the fact that Sambi had to actually move into the left side of the defense whenever there is going to be an attacking shape to complement the defense.
And you're not gonna like this, but Sambi did do his job properly. I think it was Partey who left holes in the midfield and who let the team down.
Yeah, probably that's an
probably. See, Bob will never accept something against Partey. Probably is the answer.
Okay.
See, for me, that
be one
formation.
of those games, but then I think there wasn't any defensive coherence between the two, as we can evidently see. And Brighton ran all over us during that game. I'm just hoping that for that not to happen, but I feel slightly skeptical with Odegaard, Sambi, and Partey all playing together because I felt, I mean, Odegaard was a bit of a lost child during the Brighton game. I'm not sure how different it's going to be considering we are facing a similar opposition and Palace would come down to frustrate us. There's been a lot of evidence of them improving. I mean, their stats as well show that, they've been doing more passes and all those sort of things, pressing high, with Vierra instilling some of them. But I'm not sure if in case Odegaard would be effective. And that's my biggest worry for this game.
But the worry aside, right? Evan, sorry, you were about to say something.
No, I was saying, see, last game, Brighton never gave us a chance to control the game and we couldn't control. The problem was we couldn't control the midfield. Simple as that. So even though I feel Arteta will start with Sambi and Partey, I would prefer if Odegaard can fall into a deeper role where he can basically orchestrate the game or make passes, because that's what we struggled last time. We couldn't do anything. So, but that's the only point I want.
So you want Odegaard to be the double pivot and ESR to play up front?
Yes.
Okay. Arun,
and have Partey, and have Pepe in.
Exactly. Considering that Pepe scored against Palace, I wouldn't mind trying Pepe in the game.
That was an injury time goal.
Still, he scored.
Aben, I am Pepe's biggest fan, and I don't think even I would want him to start off a game against Crystal Palace, given the form that he is right now.
But again, right? Like even if you are going to give us an injury time goal winner right now against Crystal Palace, I'll take that for one of my kidneys. So
I would not even want to go till the
definitely not.
But
you don't want to go till injury time.
Yes, but knowing Arsenal and knowing what they usually do, I'm pretty sure that we are going to go to injury time this time as well.
Actually, Arun, you shared that point, right? That in the last 20 home games, Arsenal has scored 24 goals.
24 times, yeah.
That's very.
That's a fantastic record, isn't it?
Fantastic for who? For whom?
For anyone who's coming to visit us. Yes.
But it is.
I think that proves what you guys discussed in your last pod.
Yeah. But that is also the question, Arun, right? Like if we are talking about, say, Aubameyang coming back, to being the forward that the team needs, and he seems to score freely when he goes to international games, which I mean, whatever be the reason, like people could say, oh, the oppositions weren't as good or whatever, but still, if the oppositions weren't that good, then Gabon team as in isn't that good as Arsenal, I would say that, right? So if he is scoring there, he should be able to continue his form here. It's not a decline like what we are worried about, right? Like we are worried Auba has lost his sharpness, Auba has lost his pace and all those things. But seems like that's not the truth when he plays for Gabon. So having Auba up front, do you still want Auba up front or do you want Lacazette up front for this game? Because in I mean, let me continue that thought there, right? Like with Brighton, all of us were thinking when Lacazette came in, he looked more interesting, to put the word. So do you want Auba to come in or do you want Lacazette to take his place for this game?
Yeah, and but given all the goal scoring issues that we have, this is probably like the most important question that we'll have to answer, right? Arteta's biggest issue would be like to whether to start as captain and his main goal scorer, who has also scored in the international break, like I said. I mean, like there could be a millions of reasons for him being able to score so freely in the international break. The opposition, the fact that it's not as strenuous as the Premier League is, like if you really think about it, your international, like you said, the opposition quality matters, but again, at the same time, the quality of the entire game on the pitch is very different when you go on your international breaks, depending on the continent that you go to. Maybe Europe, you can say it's a little tougher, but again, even there, if you are facing someone like a San Marino or Luxembourg, it's not the same thing. So given all that, I would say like the overall quality.
Shots taken against Ronaldo when he mentioned.
I'm not someone who normally would do that against Ronaldo, but like he's right now playing for United, so like he's put himself in that position. I am not to blame here. So so that's the thing. Like I mean, when you have that overall quality on the pitch that is definitely not like up to what you are used to playing week in, week out, you suddenly become the biggest fish in the pond there. That's the case for any game featuring someone like Aubameyang. No matter what the opposition is, if he's playing an AFCON, he's like one of the big fishes there. We can name 10 big African players right now, and Aubameyang will definitely be in the 10 big African players, right? So it's a very similar situation like that.
But I'll counter you with that, right?
Yes.
Name 10 strikers in Premier League who are good, and Aubameyang would be there in that. So he is a big fish among strikers in Premier League.
True. No, I'm not denying that at all. He's definitely still a big name. Like his reputation precedes him, right? Like he's won the Golden Boot. Last season was an off season, but he still, I think, like did manage to score a few goals. He's someone who is expected to score goals. That is his job. And when you think of Aubameyang, you don't think about dribbles. You don't think about like one-on-one take-ons. You just remember the goals because that is what he's known for. This blip in form, I do not know really if he's in form or not. The Tottenham goal should have been followed up with a better performance than what he put up at Brighton. Generally, strikers who are big, who are sort of like the talisman for their teams, when they do score something like what they did in an NLD, that is like a huge boost for them. It carries on to the next game. But even the NLD, though he did score a goal, apart from that, his game was not something like what you would see from a Salah or what you would see from like, one of another top striker in another team. So that makes me think like he's not really in form. Like that goal was a goal that happened, but like an extension of it, I was not something that I saw, not just in terms of the goals output, but also in terms of how he played the game. So that makes me really think the conundrum that Arteta has, he has to take a stance at some point in time. Like you cannot, just because Aubameyang is the captain, he's earning 350, he's a senior head, you cannot just keep playing him when the results are not coming, right? I know it's a feel-good factor, and like I said, also seems to suit the gameplay so much better, like you said. Once he came on against Brighton, we suddenly became a far better team than what we were before because of what he was doing in the game. So I would ideally like, again, it also comes to, we also have this issue of the formation that we were talking about. we are playing at home and we are playing Crystal Palace, who have not been doing it. Ideally, the dream formation that we've all been talking about, moving to the 4-3-3, is what we should be playing. We should be bullish and be playing 4-3-3 with Partey as the lone man and ESR and Odegaard. In that situation, I would love to have a Lacazette in there and play Pepe, But if we are playing a 4-2-3-1, I think at that point with the pivot, the security of a pivot, I think even there, I'm not able to like come to a conclusion whether or for reasons why I should be playing Aubameyang over Lacazette. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to like do all these permutations, combinations.
Your decision would be more easier come January, because more likely that he's going to be sold, or
Lacazette would be sold. Yeah, but like right now, if you ask me, whatever formation we go, I tried doing all this in my head, but no,
But again, right? Like if say in January,
it has to be Lacazette. I'll tell you, it has my decision. It has to be Lacazette. Yes, has to be Lacazette.
He has made his decision. But
Yes.
again, Bob, in that vein, right? You mentioned that we could be selling Lacazette in January, and we are still talking about who's going to be our central striker for a game against Crystal Palace, right? We are not having this conundrum when it's a game against, say, Tottenham. We are not talking about this against bigger oppositions, right? We are talking about a game against Crystal Palace, and we are talking that is it going to be Aubameyang or Lacazette? And it looks like Lacazette is going to go out of the door soon. So, which means we are selling one of our top contender for the spot for the starting 11. That is a little bit worrying. If we are not going to replace
do you want to really go there, Vijay? You really want to go there? It's a known fact. Our squad is poor, and Lacazette. See, I don't know. Maybe Lacazette leaving in January might be one of the factors, but Arteta doesn't want to start him. We don't know that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like Arun said. How do you gauge whether a player is in form or not? For me, it's his touch, how he touches the football. That's how you know the player is in sync with the ball, is in form. Aubameyang, that is missing. And at the moment, I agree with Arun. See, Lacazette, when he came onto the pitch, his touch was amazing. He was trying to get other players into the game. It felt much better. Now, I don't know whether Lacazette leaving in January is a factor or not. That might be. But at the moment, we've got, to answer your question, it is worrying that we've got only 2 striker options, and we're thinking that one is definitely leaving in January. But then for now, I would say you work with the resources in hand. And in hand, you've got Lacazette and Aubameyang. You play the best player you've got to.
But working with the resources in hand has given us 24 goals in 20 home games.
Well, we still are left with the same resources, Vijay. It's not like we are going to be getting like new resources anytime soon.
That's not changing now.
Exactly. Maybe when a Watkins or a DCL comes in next year, maybe things will change.
People are ready to even get Ivan Toney in. So,
yeah.
No idea what our fan base wants is a mystery, because all they want is that shiny new toy every window.
Yeah, you said it.
Last year it was Awar, and then suddenly it became Madison, and then suddenly
no one's talking about Awar now.
no one's talking. None of them want Awar. And then it was Madison, and now no one's talking about Madison now because he's not playing anything. So
because he's sucking balls. No one wants to. They don't. Yeah, it's vindication.
It's just been that case. But Bob. So let's.
I think we probably lost our ways, both your question and as well as what I wanted to answer in the first place.
that is why I went on like 6 sleds.
Who's going to be what we need is possibly someone who can actually instill the confidence and then take it forward. We won't know. I mean, basically, why we are struggling to answer this question is we don't know which Arsenal is going to turn up against Crystal Palace. The Arsenal which played against Tottenham, or the Arsenal which played against Brighton, because they are 2 different teams, as we saw. One was literally on the back foot, and then one was just bombarding on from the word go. So we just have to wait to see how it actually turns up.
You know what Deepa could have answered for that? If Deepa could have been here, his answer would be the difference between both the games is Xhaka. Granite Xhaka.
See, whether or not we like it, anyway, we like it or not, it's it's the obvious thing which has been the difference.
True.
And Xhaka has been the key to both the attacking and the defensive shapes of the team. And since his absence is being hugely felt against Brighton, I'm just hoping that we manage to come out of that sort of a trap that we've set ourselves in, and then finally find our way to play a team again. I mean, without Xhaka as such. So that's something which, if Arteta had actually figured out during the international break, that would be the well and good. But I expect Palace to press really high, and if we find a way to beat the press, somehow be effective in what we are doing, then possibly we have a way to go. Some of Partey's free kicks that he scored against during the international break would come in handy, because I'll tell you, Crystal Palace.
It will come in handy if the goalkeeper for Crystal Palace was someone from the Zimbabwe team that he played against.
Team, right?
Otherwise, no use. The Premier League goalkeepers are not going to let that in.
We'll try and do some voodoo sort of a thing to make him stand there still. But then even then he has to hit the target. That's another thing. But yeah. So the thing is, Palace has conceded the most goals from outside the box this season. They've scored 5. I mean, they've conceded 5 just this season, and we've just scored 2 from last 35 Premier League games. So make your math and then try and see if in case we'd be able to beat it.
Is there any one stat that Bob has mentioned today that has gotten any confidence into any Arsenal fan? I don't think so. But Aben, the all-time discussion with Crystal Palace for us is that Pepe versus Zaha discussion that we keep having, right? Whether we chose Pepe or whether we should have chosen Zaha or whatever, right? But even if that situation is not happening on the pitch, Zaha is going to be an important factor when it comes to how we are going to stop Crystal Palace, or how we might get something out of it. And he is going to be against Tomiyasu, right? He plays on that wing, right? So that is a battle that we need to look forward to. So what are your thoughts? Who do you think Tomiyasu would be able to step up, because he was lacking a little bit in Brighton game? Especially against that Cucurella, or what's that guy name? Yeah.
Cucurella.
Yeah.
So I think Zaha against us is always worrying for me, because I wouldn't be surprised if we concede a penalty to Zaha. And was that Millie? I find it difficult to pronounce.
Aben, keep your mouth shut, Aben.
So hopefully saying this before the game means that it won't happen during the game. So Zaha is going to definitely trouble us. There's no doubt. So see, what Tomiyasu was troubled against Cucurella was, the main reason was Cucurella's pace. Was what I felt in the last game, because and the games before that we've seen Tomiyasu. See, when people play long balls, he's heading out balls perfectly, but he did struggle a little bit for pace. And with Zaha, it's going to be pace with a lot of trickery. So that's going to be challenging for sure. And Zaha on his day, and you can see, I think Crystal Palace's goals, Zaha generally has a very good, influence over their attacking play. So that is definitely going to be a threat for us, no doubt in that. And obviously, I don't know whom they're going to start up front. Probably Edward, who's their new signing. So it will be the link up between them. If that works, then we are definitely in trouble.
Mm-hmm. But talking about all these things.
If I can just add one thing there, I'm actually really looking forward to see Tomiyasu against Zaha. I feel that he's had a very good start. I'm definitely gotten used to the league much faster than I thought he would. But again, last game, Brighton game, is the thing that we say, a wet night at Stoke. That typifies the bad days in Premier League is what he faced I think against Brighton. So I'm really thinking that if he was first half he was literally skinned by Cucurella, but he did manage to do decently in the second half. So I'm thinking that he would be able to do well against Crystal Palace if there is no rain or anything. That's
I'll just add one more. Zaha has been the most who's been fouled against this season with 24 times.
Bob, you are killing us. You are killing us today.
just wait and see. Tomiyasu is going to show you how to keep Zaha quiet without following him.
Arun, the Arsenal fan with nerves of steel.
Well, one of us needs to have that, yeah.
But Bob, talking about Crystal Palace, right? We have to talk about their manager. We all love Vierra for the player that he is, but as a manager, I think he has one win this season with 4 draws. And the 4 draws were interesting because some of them were really good games. Like against Leicester, it was a really good game. And against Brighton, it was a really good game until the 95th minute. So their draws have not been very bad draws. Like it's not like a clawing draw like what we did against, Brighton. Their draws have been their chances of winning, but they are mucking it up at the last moment or something. So as a manager, Patrick Vieira, what's your thoughts?
Patrick Vieira, I mean, the jury is still open with Premier League. It's always very difficult league to come out and then manage. But he's actually done decently so far, I would say, because the stats say that the Crystal Palace have been doing more passes, and they've been averaging the most passes out of any of the previous 3-4 managers that they've had. So it's effectively an improvement for them, and Vieira is instilling more faith into the youth. We can see a lot of youth players, starting to come up. We're going to be talking about Gallagher at some point in time, but yeah, I think he's had an impact straight away into what he's been doing and it just quite reflects that perhaps some things which he might not have actually worked properly at Nice. He's managed to rectify it during his short time here so far. I mean, I'm just hoping that he should do well, but not just against this game now. So yeah, I mean, except for that, we just hope that he takes on what we know him the best for. The last time that Vieira was involved in an Arsenal Crystal Palace game, that Arsenal won 5-1, and that game Vieira as well scored during that. How good of a stat is that?
That is a good stat. But aside from the fact that Vieira scored against Crystal Palace, and that's a very happy one and everything, Aben, right? As a manager, Aben, for Vieira, at the end of the day, points do count. What?
See, points do count. Yes, they've got just one win, but they've got only a couple of losses as well.
Yeah, 2 losses, I think.
They've lost, and that against, I think, Chelsea and
Liverpool, yeah.
So I think let's not take anything away from Vieira. There is a new manager factor as well. But Vieira, what do we relate to Vieira as the attitude he brings, the fierceness into the game. And if you look at the Palace results, they've come back. The West Ham game, they've come back. They've been down, they've come back. The Leicester game, they were 2-0 down, they came back. So those are all points. They basically converted 0 to 1. So they would not have got any points, but they got a point. So that steal I can see. I think points do matter in the end of the day. I'm not taking that away. Without points, we're not going to get anywhere. But he's getting that steal into the game. And that is evident. And that could be, like Bob said, the jury is still out. That could be because of the new manager. But I like to feel that it's because of Vieira. The fierceness he gets into the game, probably because of that. So not taking that away from them.
Of course, when we are talking about the managers, we would end up comparing Arun, that Vieira to Arteta. That comparison is bound to happen.
No, this was coming all day long.
There is no way that we are going to avoid that discussion, right? Comparing the team setup and all that aside, right? Like just as a manager, is Vieira giving you more of the confident manager vibe than Arteta does?
More than the confident manager vibe, I'm just like dreading this. I hope this doesn't happen, but like there is a very high possibility of this happening. When the managers do come out and the names are announced, I am dreading that Vieira is going to get bigger cheers than Arteta. And Arteta is our manager. So that's something that I am actually, I hope it doesn't happen, but there is always a possibility of it happening. But if we were to compare like what these two have done, Vieira having managed like outside of England, he's never managed a bigger club. Yes, of course he's managed in the MLS with City, he's managed with Nice, but his agenda and the things that he has to achieve are very different from Arteta's agenda. Like when the stature of the two clubs, irrespective of their positions on the table right now, will tell you like the kind of pressures or the kind of expectations that the fans and the owners have from those two managers, and they're not the same. They're definitely not on the same level, right? Vieira, like we've discussed, he brings in the passion and everything, but he is someone who can afford to go with the position that his team is in the table right now. He can continue to be in that position till January. He can continue to be in that position till the end of the season with lesser wins than draws or losses. That is not something that Arteta can afford to do, though the management has come out and said that they're going to back him and everything. He is not in a position where he can afford to like have that leeway or that relaxation. But though we are seeing some semblance of things happening on the pitch, this for me is the biggest difference between these two managers, which makes it seem to me like the yardstick to measure them their success is very different in both the cases, right? Depends on the expectations of the team. So if we were to be comparing the results, no, I do not know if it is the right way to compare, but yes, as someone who is a former Arsenal, who is a Arsenal legend, a former player managing another club, getting results and all that, I would definitely, like, even with the results that we've seen so far in the season, we've been performing better under Arteta, like when you look at the table, than what they have done under Vieira. I think the fact that Arteta has had one season and his expectations are bigger, has a bigger budget, and has been able to show things better on the pitch than what Vieira has been able to show far, probably gives him a slight edge, which makes me think that he should be able to win the game. That's where I would see it. Like, based on whatever we've had so far, there is something better brewing here. That could be possibly due to the resources, due to the fact that he has had more time, and he's been able to like look at the expectations and like try to relate to the expectations much better than what Vieira could. So I think in that sense, I think we are in a better position with respect.
He did win the Manager of the Month.
Exactly.
Now,
so that's a big shout out to the manager for winning the match.
But talking about the managing side of things, Bob, right? Did you see Jack Wilshere being involved in the under 23s, or is he now being is he doing badges with us, or what is his role actually?
I think he mentioned about doing some coaching badges as well. But I feel that he is as well mentoring the youngsters from a few of those pictures that was actually shared in social media with him having a chat with Patino.
Is he going to be the new Freddie Ljungberg for Arsenal?
I think injuries have most certainly impacted his playing time. I could see, and looks like he's not been able to get a club. Means that there's been doubts about how he could actually recover, or how better he could be perform over 90 minutes every week of the game. So I think there's been a lot of concerns, which is why he has not taken up even one club, which many of them would open up, at least if not in the top leagues, at least in the low level leagues, someone should open up. And then if he had been interested in playing at all, he should have been in a club by now. But if he has not been doing, I think injuries are playing a part. I'm not sure what's actually true in there. But it's good to see him back. I, for one, love Jack Wilshere. Wholeheartedly when I was, watching him play there in person. But it's definitely much refreshing to see our former youngsters coming back to help the academy, to help it grow. And I just wish that he gets back to his feet, and then he goes find a club that he wants, and then possibly start playing. I just wish that it would be at Arsenal, but at least somewhere else that he's happy and then he's playing games.
But there
He'll
has been
eventually come back. He'll eventually come back and lead us to glory.
but then like this seems to be one of the questions that I kind of popped up, right? There are talks about Santi Cazorla coming back to Arsenal in some coaching role. There's already Mertesacker there. Jack is now, I don't know if he's going to be a player again, or is he going to go on and do his coaching roles, maybe start with the youth setup, and maybe that's what he's thinking because of his of all the reasons that you have mentioned. Is this something that we are doing consciously, Arsenal as a club? Because before that, when Wenger was there, that was one of the complaints, right? That former players are not allowed in, are not encouraged to come in and help. Even though we had the Invincibles, we have players who are doing their coaching and stuff, but we're not encouraged to come into Arsenal. Now it seems to be the reverse, right? It seems to be like former players are encouraged to come back. Is this something that you are saying, or is this something that I am hallucinating?
I think you're looking too much into things, I believe. There isn't any door which was actually kept shut when Wenger was around. It stopped players from coming in. I mean, we've seen Henry coming back to train with us and then even play for us sometime during his second stint. And then, possibly he was about to join our coaching setup as well when he took up a role with Belgium as such. But yeah, I think there wasn't anything stopping anyone from coming in. I think the circumstances were different at that time to what it is now, and there are some players who are available at this point to come and help the team and the club. So that's what is happening. So yeah, I just felt it's just an overreaction.
I mean, I do have overreaction. At least that's why I'm an Arsenal fan. Eben, let's start with the danger man. Actually,
If I can just add one point there, I think Vijay, this is all due to Ronaldo coming back to United. Every club wants a legend back now. Would you take Alexis Sanchez back now?
I take Chamak back with my eyes.
Chamak, yes. Let's get Chamak.
Lord Benner for me.
Well, you win it there.
But Eben, let's start with the danger man, right? For Crystal Palace, who do you think would be the danger man, and for Arsenal, who do you think would be the danger man?
For Palace, for me, outright, it's going to be Zaha, and to an extent, even I think Conor Gallagher has been doing very well for them. So I'd put Zaha number one and probably Gallagher slightly. For Arsenal, I think like Bob mentioned earlier, for us the key is going to be how we defeat their press. And for me, that Odegaard is going to be our key. If Odegaard controls the game, we have a chance. Otherwise, I don't see us.
This is like the fourth episode where we have put Odegaard as the key player for Arsenal. But yeah, I'll continue the discussion with Bob on this one, right? Bob, to continue, who's the danger man for you?
I feel for Palace, Gallagher is right there at the top because the impact which he has showed right since he's joined from Chelsea on loan has been quite tremendous, and I'm just hoping that we keep him quiet there. I mean, it's mostly Tierney's job to keep him quiet. So if we could actually control him as well as Edward. Again, he was prolific when he was playing for Celtic, and then he joined in place of Nketiah, who they were actually looking to buy. I felt it was an opportunity missed to make a team weaker. So in that regard, yeah, if we could keep them, I mean, usual suspect is so I don't want to touch him again. So I feel Edward and Gallagher would be the men to look out for.
And in Arsenal?
For Arsenal, I feel Partey's presence would be pretty immense. I feel if we could actually, I somehow have the start in the corner of my mind that there's a goal coming in from him since a long time. I don't know. I have this thought for every game.
You know why? So, you know why, Bob? You know why, Bob?
Because I've been jinxing the whole thing. Our guesses for finding that out, but yeah. But yeah, and as you guys pointed out, Tomiyasu is going to be very important because I think he has to control Zaha, and that will actually impact us in terms of how we actually progress with the game. If we
Okay.
if we keep him quiet, just like how Tomiyasu kept Son quiet during the Tottenham game, that would be exactly the kind of performance that we would expect from our right back.
Okay. So Arun, quick Benjamin thought.
From Arsenal or Crystal Palace?
Go for either. I mean, go for both.
From Crystal Palace, I would say the entire Arsenal team. For us, from our side, the danger man, I would say Party. Party is going to be like very important for this game. He's going to control what's going to happen, given that there's no Xhaka. Whether we play with a single man midfield or a double pivot, it's going to be Party who's going to decide. Party is going to decide what's going to happen in the game. So he's going to be our biggest danger man. He has a bad game. We are not going to do anything in the game at all. So for our side, yeah, he's going to be the danger man.
For Crystal Palace, it's the entire
For
Arsenal team.
Crystal,
You're not going to take that.
I'll add like we mentioned Gallagher, we mentioned Edward, we mentioned Zaha as well. But I want to add this guy Milivojevic. Yeah. So for me, like he always manages to like do something dirty in our games. He always manages to get a pen. Whoever gets a pen, he always scores the pen. So for me, like this guy in midfield, he makes the other players also tick because he does like most of the dirty jobs, so they don't have to worry about it. So he's someone I don't like. I find him very annoying, and I find that he could possibly be like someone who could trouble us, especially with like the midfield that we want to have.
So now that we are there, right? I mean, I think we have had enough of Crystal Palace for one day, at least till the game. But we will do the predictions. I'll start with you, Arun, because you mentioned that penalties, right? So you mentioned penalties. You brought up the discussion.
No.
What's your prediction for the game?
I'd go with a 1-1 draw. Not that I want the team to draw. Of course, I want them to win. It's very stupid. It's one of those fan things. Every time I predict a win, we end up like either drawing or losing. So let me try this. Let me try a 1-1 draw.
This is like we are the most superstitious podcast group in YouTube, I guess. Jinxing, anti-jinxing, inception jinxing, like
thinking that me saying a 1-1 is going to somehow dramatically change how Arteta put his team up. Yeah, I would say 1-1.
But Bob, what's your predictions?
I feel Palace will come to frustrate us and they will succeed in a way, so it will again be a 1-1 draw.
Whoa. Okay. Two draws. Aben, come on.
I'm going for a 1-0 victory.
Yes,
bringing the W. Aben.
I'm hoping Ramsdale keeps another clean sheet and
1-0 to the Arsenal. Okay. I'm going actually for a 2-0 victory because I feel that Auba is coming red hot and there has been too many questions on him off late and been that way for some time. And he's a person who takes pride in what he does. So I'm hoping that he would come good. I'm hoping that Crystal Palace doesn't have a great backline, so Auba should be able to handle them. So 2-0 victory to the Arsenal. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining in, and meet you after the game.
After the win.
Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners.